Hey guys, so here we have a new set I did on my cousin recently, and these were for her trip to Beautiful Days, which is a festival, and the theme on one night is silver. So she said, oh, just use some silver glitter, just a plain colour. Well, no. So we went for some ombres and some just fabulous holographicness. So I've filed off her previous set, I've put on some tips, just trimmed them very roughly into shape, so some of them do look a bit dodge. And then I'm just going straight on with my acrylic. I'm using CJP in Ash, which is this lovely, I think it's possibly my favourite grey they've done. And then using Cherry Blossom from the cuticle area and blending down. This Ash makes beautiful ombres too. I'm then using my wet brush to pick up some of the Mermaid scales from the Glitter Fairy in QuickSilver. Mermaid scales are tricky to get used to, so make sure that acrylic, you're pressing them in as soon as possible, because it helps if you can press them into that wet acrylic, because they do have quite a curl to them, so you need to make sure they're very flat. I'm then going to use my CJP Crystal Glass, starting at the cuticle area and blending forward to cap the entire nail. Making sure that all that glitter goes nice and matte, and working with the Mermaid scales, it's really easy to see when you've capped it because they go such a dull grey compared to the super shine they are, so you know when you've capped them, and if you've got like any glittery bits poking through, you can see that you haven't. I'm then going to use my holographic chunky cut from the Glitter Fairy, again in silver, using a bead of clear acrylic to pick up and place on the nail, and then just kind of push around and tap into place. I did put a base layer of clear acrylic, and then I'm using my wet brush to pick up the ultraviolet angel paper from the Glitter Fairy that's been cut into like little shards, and then just placing that on top. Now first of all that looks quite yellow, but as soon as you cap in clear, first of all you can see how dull that glitter goes, but you can also see why this angel paper is called ultraviolet, because you can see it goes that lovely, well, ultraviolet colour. Just had to show my cousin how pretty that was, which is why my fingers went out of shot for a minute. I was just like, look at this angel paper, it's amazing. Then going on to the next nail. Starting again with that ash at the smile line, blending up and then tapping down. Remember, whenever you're doing an ombre, make sure you get that nice blend up before you pull the acrylic down. And then I'm going to do a very thin clear base, and then I'm popping on some of that holographic chunky. Again, using a small wet bead of clear acrylic to pick it up, place it on the nail, and then brush it down in a waterfall. And then getting some of those Mermaid scales in QuickSilver and tapping them into that wet layer just to add that extra holographic. Because of their curl, that seems to enhance the holographic shine of these. So again, coming into the cuticle area, placing just before, blending back and then blending down the nail, tapping and patting and pulling down. And again, fantastic glitter to work with, because you can tell when you've capped it, because it goes, I mean, you can see the glitter in the pot underneath and the glitter on the nail, it goes that really dull colour. And then on this nail I'm going to do the same as the pinky, so starting with that ash, blending up and then blending down. Then going to get the cherry blossom and then press in some of those Mermaid scales. Now the reason I don't file my tips before I get to the final file is because it's just a bit of a waste of time. I make sure I trim them to the rough shape I want, so using scissors, but then there's no need to file them perfectly into shape because I'm just using them as a base. Once the nail's all capped, cured, pinched and ready to go, I will then file them into shape. So it's just a good way to save yourself a bit of time. And I also use well-less tips, so you literally glue them on and can go. You don't need to buff them if you're working with acrylic, because the acrylic will stick to that surface. It's only when you use gel that you need to buff your tips. So there's just a few time-saving tips there for you, because a lot of people comment on how they want to be getting quicker at their nails. So it's just finding those little time-saving ways to get a quicker set out. And then once they're all set and ready to go, I'm now going to file into shape. So starting with my two side walls, making sure I'm getting that nice angle in for my coffin, ballerina, whatever you want to call them. They're such similar shapes, it's pretty much the same thing. Then I'm going very gently around that cuticle area, And then I'm going to do that bulk of the nail. Making sure not to work on just one place. Taking my time, and as you'll notice, I did not speed up this filing. So this is done normal time as you're watching it. So this is the speed I would file. And then looking at it from all angles until I'm happy with that shape and structure. And then when they're all done, I've dusted them all off, and then I'm just going to top coat. Nikki's one of those people, a lot of my clients actually, I'd love to be able to put loads of art on top, but a lot of my clients don't like it. They like super smooth nails. So I try to do fun things with glitter encapsulating. And as you can see, that's just such, the shine on these two glitters combined is just beautiful. So I think we definitely, when she said, I just want silver, I think we did that. And you can see on this nail, just that bit of that angel paper as well, just adding that little bit extra shimmer. So I'm using my usual LED top coat. And then popping in my lamp, 60 seconds cure. And then giving it a minute or two for that top coat to cool down before putting my cuticle oil on. And there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Any questions, comments, requests, feel free to pop them below. And thanks for tuning in. Bye guys.